one of the things happens when we're sitting too long, and we already kind of talked about this, but when we're sitting too long, our right brain goes to sleep, or our right mode. So to wake it up, we need to do something active, and that's why I have you get up, and that's why we do cross-body exercises, or up, down, or whatever, and that I do that all the time it's a very easy thing to do in your class. You notice everybody's glaze-eyed. Get them up, get them moving around, and it will kind of kickstart you get going again. So that's kind of important. All right, so now we're going to look at convergent versus divergent thinkers. And this is generally how we solve problems. Okay? So the first one is convergent. So we gather the facts. You can see these are all the blue are the facts. We gather all the facts, and then we come to a conclusion, which is very inductive. So it can be. So, and we're coming to a point, all right? And then divergent is moving or extending in different, so we have something that stimulates us, and then we go in different directions. We might bounce around all over the place. Convergent tend to be people who also will only do the rules. They're rule followers. And divergent tend to be non-rule followers. They're like, oh, but there's a different way to do it. So a convergent person will go on a hiking trip and they will stay on the trail to get to their goal, because they say, if I stay on the trail, I'll get there. But the divergent person will be like, hey, if we go off this way, we can see that, and we can do this, and blah, 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 and they'll see all these beautiful things and do all this awesome stuff, but they might get lost. And they might not get to the goal. They might go to a different goal. They come to a different goal. All right? Just knowing that. Where do you think you are?
I know that I go on walks, and I go with a friend with her dog, and she always wants to stick to the path, and I'm always kind of like, I'm really happy just to walk and get lost and come back. And I know with my teaching, if I go, I'm very convergent, because if I go off on a tangent, I get lost.
Right.
And it's the same with rules.
Right.
I always get lost.
Right.
No sense of direction.
Right. So basically you're telling me that you do have both.
I have to.
But you have to actually work at
Yeah.
being convergent,
Yeah.
because you're more divergent. And you will actually notice that in people who are their mind, and when you're having a conversation with them, because if they're convergent, they just move through and they get to their point. And a divergent person will basically, you lose the direction that they're going in. So
Randomly say something because my mind's wandered.
Right, because you're.
But used to
It's
say things and people just didn't.
like, where'd that come from? How did you think that? What was the train of thought that got you there?
Nothing years ago. It's like, oh, there you go.
Exactly. I've actually become aware of that, and so I ask people, can you just tell me the train of thought? How about you, Marnie?
Oh, I'm not convergent like 100%. I mean, I can do, but I feel awkward and weird, and it's like, we're going here, we're going in that direction, so let's get there.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm convergent. I really like facts that get to the answer.
Mm-hmm.
When I ask a question, I just want the answer. I don't want what do you think about it or
Mm-hmm.
ideas. But I'm ADHD, and so a lot of times when I really want to be convergent, I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty, like, it's overwhelming, because a lot of times it'll just be, well, that's actually not the goal in my head right now. So I'm convergent in like a divergent way. Like it's, the goal changes constantly, but I'm always trying to get to the goal.
Right. Cool.
Definitely divergent.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Katie always, we're both for Divergence. We always sort of like, oh, what are we going to do today when we first get up? And then we say everything. Usually by like 9:30, it's like, shot the heck. So we're usually doing something totally different.
Right.
And never do what we were planning on doing. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But yeah, definitely.
Good. Tim?
It probably depends on the situation, because I think in some things, like a Convergent, when I think of like the trail, if it was a trail I didn't know, I'm not going to go off the trail because I don't want to get lost. But if it's an area I do know, I will go off. Because I feel confident that I'm not going to die.
Right.
So
Me too.
Similar with like if I know something, I'll want to go off the path. To figure out what else is related to it.
Yeah.
But like with teaching lessons too, like I'll get lost if I try to go off track. And so I'll try to be convergent like this happens.
That's why we want an objective. Helps us keep on the goal for teaching.
What seems really important is understanding who we are in terms of left and right and convergence and divergence. Because then we have to really work at what we are. Because
Yes.
we've got to teach
Yes.
everyone.
Right.
not just
We have,
people we are.
absolutely, we understand our strengths and our weaknesses, because then we can actually help other people with those, like that they can actually have space to be who they are. So, yeah.
Otherwise we end up only reaching a small number of people who are like us.
Right. Yes, I agree. I feel like rule following, I'm probably convergent, but and I'm the same way with, like, I'll go hiking in a place, and there's a place I go hiking up in Montana, and in the summer I just go on the trail. I just go on the trail. But in the winter there is no trail. It's covered with snow. But I know it so well that I'll just go, because I know where the goal is and I know how to get there. I know that if I do this and this and this, I'll get there. So it's kind of interesting.
Why even go if you don't have a goal?
Right, exactly.
Because maybe the goal's not getting to the top. It's just hanging out with friends.
Right. So how do we use this in teaching? Actually, I'm going to show you these pictures, because these pictures are examples of convergent and divergent in different areas. What would you say this is? Convergent. Because we've got a center point. Divergent. This is an orchid from Singapore. Yes, convergent.
You know where you're going.
If you know where you're going, but if you're looking at it from above like this. So, yeah. Okay, so how do we incorporate that in our teaching? And you can look in if you want to. There's some things in here, but
I would have to say, for me, being someone that is very convergent in how I receive my information, and if it's not, like listening to Lauren Cunningham is a huge struggle for me, because I have no idea what he's talking about. It's all great, it's all information, but I was like, what are you trying to tell me? And then when he's done, it's like, okay, now it makes sense, but it would have been nice to kind of. And so for me, as a just, I need to know where we're going here. I need to know what our goal is. I need to know, and I think Lauren Cunningham is the epitome of the opposite of that as a teaching. And I really struggle with figuring out what he's trying to communicate. I'm listening. It's all interesting. I love it, but I have no idea what he's trying to say.
totally.
I
Yeah.
think it's the same as the right, left, right.
Yes, very, very similar in that way. One thing about, yes, I actually am exactly like you with Lauren Cunningham. Love his stories. Tons of wisdom, He's amazing. He's a legend, right? But his story, like the way that he communicates, and it's gotten more and more that way. But one of the things that I was taught to do was to do a mind map of note-taking. So, I mean, you can do it as a mind map or you can do it on a piece of paper, whatever you want to do. But write down, okay, story about, like whatever it is, about monkeys and the point. And then the next story, point. And the next story, point. And the next story, point. And the next story. And then at the end, you go, oh, and you can you actually are organizing it in your own head and heart and getting more out of it. So that would be a way to help engage yourself with a lecture in that format that is more, it's hard because it's not logical, it doesn't feel logical, and it's not convergent. And so it's not left brain. So anyway, ways to help you. Yeah, no worries. All right. Just a wrap up. As we're going through today, what is highlighted to you about different learning styles that we've covered so far? Was kind of highlighted to you things that you thought, wow, that confirms something, or that I want to use, or I had never seen it that way, or whatever. What is coming up for you? Like as we went through all the modalities and the right brain, left brain, and the convergent, we looked at, or something else that we talked about, that you thought, oh, I'm challenged, I should do this, or that encouraged me, I have been doing that, or confirmed something, or whatever is coming up. I was not taught to my learning style at all, only that one 8th grade teacher really, and my art teachers. And so I was really frustrated because I was like, I didn't do well. I got saved in university, and that's when I started getting 4-point. So it was like a long journey. And so it's so important for us to understand that people have different ways of learning. And we're going to talk more about it tomorrow. So, and even broader, I think to me it's even more fun. So, but this is good. And it gives you more. I'll pray. I'm going to pray. Jesus, thank you for today. Thank you for how you created us. Help us to embrace that, and help us to be teachers that embrace people with different learning styles and help them to learn and minister to them and care about them. And so, Lord, we ask that you would be with everyone as they get their teachings together, and we ask that you give us strength through it. In your precious name, amen.